Good evening, everyone. We will now begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for blessings and protection received while participating in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Amahara ni kamuzumarimasu kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite sume miyoya kamu izanagi no mikoto tsukushi no himuka no tachi hana no odo no ahagi harani misogi harai tamo toki ni narimaseru harai dono kami tachi moro moro no maragoto tsumi kegateru harai tamai kiyome tamai tomao sukoto no yoshio Amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomoni Ame no fuji koma no mimi furi tatete Kikoshi mese to kashikomi mo maosu Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Kam nagara tamachi haemase. Kam nagara tamachi haemase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized with health, peace, and prosperity are reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light so that we may truly become the instruments of your grace. Please be seated for group Johrei. May God and Meishu-sama bless you. Teaching this evening is entitled Gratitude from Daily Inspirations, page 63. How grateful I am. God blesses me with good health and grants me the honor of channeling the divine light for the healing of others. No words spoken or written can describe the great blessings God has given me. How can I praise Him enough for all this happiness? I cursed all the world and blame others for my difficulties. Now, all the negativity in my mind is gone and is clear. From my spiritual viewpoint, the extreme changes of climate and weather are all man-made. For instance, if the majority of the people in an area entertain righteous and peaceful thoughts, the climate will be mild and normal. But if a large percentage become extreme in their thinking and their attitudes lack the warmth of love, they reflect on the weather, making it colder than it would naturally be for that particular season. Human speech also has great influence on climate and weather. Words that express negativity, lies, complaints, grumbling, abuses, etc., form clouds in the spiritual realm. I once had a friend who could see the spiritual vibrations of words. He said that when loving words were spoken, he could see a bright, whitish light coming from the speaker's mouth. And when hateful words were uttered, he could see something that looked like black soot being emitted. This soot-like substance adds clouds to the spiritual realm. When they increase to a certain point, purification automatically occurs and disperses the clouds. This is a law of nature at work. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this evening service of the Miroku Association. We are keeping in our prayers the victims of the floods in Germany and Belgium, and also the heat wave in the Pacific Northwest here in North America. And this is very in tune with the teaching is telling us today. So whatever we say, whatever we do, if it is of a negative nature, we will help create these spiritual clouds in the atmosphere, and that will manifest as natural disasters. But we can't be judgmental. All people in Germany are in Belgium purifying, so their spiritual clouds, they may be selected to help the whole world, in fact, to be purifying. So we don't know. We cannot make a conclusive thought about that, but we can pray. Pray for the victims, for their families, and so that the society can recover as soon as possible, as well as many other parts of the world as well. There are always something going on. Today I would like to share this faith experience. It is from the area of Benguela, Angola. Joaquina Quilombo Chinanga Mbalamba is a Johrei member and dedicated as a missionary in Benguela, Angola. The faith experience she's sharing with us is related to the importance of volunteering at the Nature Farming Project and the practice of giving daily donations of gratitude. After putting into practice the guidelines to make daily donations, as a result, she was blessed to be inspired to dedicate the Nature Farming Project of Kulango on the day of her mother's anniversary of transition, with the addition of the family members who lived with her. 2 days to this schedule, she told the person in charge of volunteers that she and her family were no longer going due to lack of money for traveling and other expenses. However, the person in charge encouraged her by saying that her sonne and mental attitude would determine whether they would go or not. She went before the altar and surrendered all her difficulties into God's hands. The result did not wait at all. The day before the departure to the nature farming site, her boss gave her the funds that sufficed for their trip. At the nature farm, as she worked with the soil, she began eliminating lots of toxins. After this cleansing process, she never again complained about typhoid fever and chest pains she used to experience. She returned home happy and grateful for the permission to have taken her family to a place of incredible light. A few days later, the family held a special service for her mother's birthday. With the intensification of her dedications, she received the blessing to be transferred from an area of her job to a place where she would only work 2 days a week, allowing her to have more time to dedicate. Due to that, she materialized her monetary donation of gratitude, and by God's grace, in November of last year, she received the sacred focal point of Hikari along with an acquaintance. To express her gratitude, she's attained a group of members aiming at their happiness. This group is comprised of 28 homes. In January of this year, she was blessed to participate on a pilgrimage to their headquarters in Luanda with 13 members of her group. Joaquina followed up on a case of a member who developed an infection that disfigured her face for 8 months. This member was looking for medical and traditional folk treatments, but found no answer. The aggravating factor is that to go out to the street, this member had to cover her face almost completely with a cloth. The situation made her lose the will to live. She spent time indoors, and her boyfriend abandoned her. So Joaquina and her group began giving Johrei assistance to this person, in addition to praying at her house and reading Meishu-sama's teachings aloud. After a week, the lady's wounds began to dry, and her face showed signs of healing. Admired by this miracle, she started to attend our church, regain her self-esteem, and got a job in an ice cream parlor where she serves the customers. As an expression of her gratitude, she made a special monetary donation and guided her uncle to our church. Joaquin is very thankful to the Supreme God, Meishu-sama, and her ancestors for the permission to have known this path of salvation. So this was a very nice experience from Benguela, Angola. And yet I have another faith experience that I would like to share this evening. And this is from Mariene Polido. She's from Milan, Italy. This morning I shared one from Rome. Now this evening I'm sharing this one from Milan. Mariene Polido is originally from Brazil and has lived in Italy since August 2007 and became a Johrei member in Italy in October of 2009. In the month of April, some years ago, she received good news. In a few months, she would become the grandmother of twins. The news filled her with joy. The pregnancy of her daughter-in-law had passed normally until the 7th month, when she was hospitalized, and the baby girls were born on the month of November of that same year. Everything seemed to go well. All three seemed to be healthy, but unfortunately, the following day, her daughter-in-law was affected by severe generalized infection, which led her to a deep coma with no hope of recovery. Mariene was shocked and scared. She was in Milan and her first action was to notify her minister named Rosa Maria, who suggested that she immediately call the Johrei Center near where she lives, where her daughter-in-law was hospitalized, to ask for Johrei assistance. She called the center, and a missionary became interested in her problem and promised to go to the hospital to channel Johrei to her daughter-in-law. The doctors strongly suggest her to hold on to her faith because only a miracle could save her daughter-in-law. She indeed deeply devoted to this practice, praying for a miracle to happen. In the meantime, Mariene left for Brazil, and after 20 days, one of the twins died of respiratory paralysis, and the baby was found to have the same bacterium as her daughter-in-law. The day before the funeral, the other granddaughter was also infected with the same bacterium and went to intensive care for 10 days. When there seemed to be no hope left, Mariene went to the Johrei Center and prayed with humility and faith that God and Meishu-sama would save her daughter-in-law and granddaughter and spare her of this nightmare by Christmas. She prayed with absolute conviction that the worst would not happen, despite her some pessimism, repeating desperately that he would lose his entire family. During this terrible period, they both received an hour of Johrei a day from volunteers, while she also channeled Johrei to them non-stop, from morning till evening. She promised that if they were saved, she would go to the sacred grounds of Garapiranga for Meishu-sama's birthday celebration, which she ended up going there a few days earlier anyway. After 50 days of hospitalization, her granddaughter Maria Luisa finally recovered and was discharged. Her daughter-in-law also recovered and was discharged 2 days later. Mariene is very thankful to God and Meishu-sama for these wonderful miracles, and she commits herself to the salvation of the greatest number of people, guiding them to our church so that they may feel as happy as she feels. This was a very nice experience as well from Mariene of Milan, Italy. So we had the experience from Angola and this one from Italy. Thank you very much. I want to wish you good evening and blessed evening, blessed Sunday. For those who will attend tomorrow, we have the local service here of the New York Johrei Center at 11 a.m. Hope you can join us. Thank you very much. With this concludes our evening service.